Kia ora koutou, Markie here, and excited to be back again talking about the subject where it all began. Because although this channel is called Mark the Demystifier and it's about a whole range of things, it began by focusing on something called retroactive jealousy. Now, I won't explain what retroactive jealousy is here because there's other videos on it. So if you go on my channel that go into the basics of what it is. And there are other videos that talk about different techniques for recovery from retroactive jealousy. But today I want to talk, this is directed specifically to partners of retroactive jealousy sufferers, and it's long overdue. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. I did produce a video a little while back talking about the Facebook forum that I've set up for partners of retroactive jealousy. That's still going. It's been quite a slow starter, but it's still there, and I am getting people joining. So please do support that, because the more, obviously a support forum doesn't work if it hasn't got people on there. And I think the whole problem that I've had really is I'm just not getting the message out. I think YouTube has been probably better than anything else in a way. The website that I've got is still scoring very low. If you Google retroactive jealousy, it's scoring quite low on the scheme of things. But the YouTube is probably the way forward, I think. So welcome back, all my RJ friends. I know what your pain is like, and I know what the pain of your partners is like, because it's horrendous. So I think partners suffer almost as much. So what advice and guidance would I give to the partner of somebody with retroactive jealousy? Whew. Right, okay. Well, first of all, well done, because you've probably put up with an awful lot, and it's probably been extremely wearing, and you have probably been shamed, and you have probably had your privacy invaded in one way or another, maybe kind of covertly. You might have had your diary looked at, or your Facebook profile kind of plundered and explored, or you might have been subjected to a barrage of questions about your past, which isn't nice. Okay, so first of all, well done for getting through this, and you're still in the relationship, because if you weren't in the relationship, you probably wouldn't be watching this. So you're still with that partner, and they may be in recovery, and they may not be in recovery. Okay, so first thing I would say is take care of yourself and don't take any shit. Okay, it is a condition. We do believe it's a form of OCD. They're not a bad person, but it's not okay for them to treat you badly. It's not okay for them to look into your diary, or to go anywhere you don't want them to go, or to look anywhere that you don't want them to look in their quest for information. That's not okay. It's not okay for them to shame you, and it's not okay for them to keep asking you questions about your past. So the first thing is to put a line down in the sand to make that very plain that you're not putting up with those kinds of behaviours. If they're not in recovery and they're not exposed to any recovery resources like videos, or there's about probably maybe 5 now providers of services for retroactive jealousy in the country, there needs to be more, really, but I would certainly steer them in the direction of one of those. You can steer them in my direction, you can steer them in the direction of some of the other people that are out there. There are various, there's a new Facebook forum which is really good, which I'm promoting, so you can steer them in that direction. But you would be selling yourself down the river, really, if you allow yourself to tolerate ongoing behaviours of this nature, and they will continue unless that person gets help, or your relationship will break up. So you have to decide, really, how important is this relationship to you? Are you going to continue with it? And if you are going to continue with it, then I would make some automata, really. It is okay to do that. Okay. Second thing is, don't answer any questions or provide any information or any reassurance. because that just makes the whole thing worse. So if they ask you a question, so I'm not going to answer that question because that makes retroactive jealousy worse, because what we all know is that question provides temporary reassurance. They then think about the answer and come up with 10 more questions, which are equally intrusive and horrible. A real biggie is, and this is a big responsibility for you, is not to do anything that will trigger them. The way I look at retroactive jealousy in its untreated stages is it's like a wound that's inflamed, okay? And in order for people to get well, then they need to for the inflammation to be calmed down before they can really get working on that, on the depth, the nitty gritty of recovery. And as you will know, lots of things will trigger them. Lots and lots of things will trigger them, and you are probably triggering them without realizing it. So what I would recommend is start to mentally compile a list of the things that you think which may trigger them, and then add some and then add a margin for good measure. So avoid saying things which you think might trigger, and it can be really, really broad, you know. Obviously, you know, you don't want to be censored or stifled. So you still need to be you still need to be a person, you still need to be able to converse. But, you know, it's really not a good idea to mention anything about any past boyfriend or anything sexual or anything like that. So, and you know, one good way of finding out what to avoid is to ask them. And you'll get it wrong sometimes, and you'll still do it, and that's okay. And, you know, you can apologise and you can get back on track. Okay. This is all assuming that you want to help your partner. You don't have to help your partner, you can leave your partner. But if you want to help your partner, then this is really important. Okay, and if you're not willing to do this, then maybe ask yourself why. Any kind of self-help is good, because often what happens with a partner of someone with a psychological condition, there is a tendency towards something called codependence, which I'll probably talk about in another video. So codependence is, it takes many forms, but it's basically losing yourself in a relationship so that you don't know where you end and they begin. It's a lot of pleasing, it's a lot of controlling, it's a lot of things like that. So if there's any codependency, address that. It's a good time for you to get counselling. It's a good time for you to maybe go to a 12-step group for codependency. Check out my video on 12-step groups. These are the main things to do, okay? And there will be times, this is another really important one, there will be times where if your partner's working a program and they're doing all the things that are advised, they will be trying their damnedest not to ask you questions, but inside they will be really churning up. And there will be times when you see them looking deeply upset, and when you ask them what's going on, they won't want to talk about it. That is the point to back away, because that is where they're trying desperately not to ask a question. So if you go kind of prodding and poking them at that particular point, albeit in a well-meaning way, it's going to make it even harder for them not to ask questions, not to do all the old RJ stuff. So when they're sitting there looking pensive, looking upset, they look like they're troubled, you know, by all means say, are you okay? But if they say to you, oh, you know, it's just their thoughts again, or if they say, oh, it's the RJ, then you know, you can give them a kiss, you can give them a cuddle, you can offer some reassurance that you love them, but don't pry, don't prod. Okay, really not good. So in a nutshell, that is my guidance for partners. I'm going to shoot another quick video, which is kind of the opposite kind of mirror image of this in terms of how to approach your partner about your RJ recovery. But it's kind of be pretty much a kind of an echo of this, really. So you may wish to watch both. Depends which side of the fence you're on, really. RJ tends to only occur in really good relationships, so there's a good chance that your relationship is a really good one and a really valuable one. And if you're, it's entirely up to you whether you stay or go. If you choose to stay, then, you know, I really hope that you're able to use some of the tips that I've offered. So, and get get support. I mean, one of the things we do, we also offer support for family members, not family, for partners of retroactive jealousy sufferers. But and we have a team, so I could, for example, work with an RJ sufferer, and one of my colleagues could work with a partner. So we do offer specific help and counselling for that. So that's the other thing that you can do. You don't have to come to us for that. If you follow all the other rules and stick with it, hopefully, you'll eventually there'll be a happier outcome, or certainly an improvement. But we are here if you need us. So I hope this is helpful. Check out my YouTube channel for more videos on retroactive jealousy. They're mixed in with various other things, so you have to hunt them down. I can't work out at the moment how to get them in a particular series, so they're easy to find and look for. Also have a Patreon channel, and the Patreon channel has some exclusive content on retroactive jealousy that's not available for free on YouTube, simply because I have to earn my living. So although I'm very passionate about getting information out there and supporting people with retroactive jealousy, this is also my work. This is what I do to put food on the table. So the Patreon channel is or the Patreon channel, I should say, is a means for doing that. So if you want to help support the cause, please hit the subscribe button. Subscribe as a Patreon subscriber. Subscribe as a subscriber. And if you really want to help, please consider sponsoring me on Patreon, because that really helps improve the quality. It will improve the quality of the production and give me afford me as a lecturer more time to produce videos and do more work in this field. And if you decide to stick with it, then hang on in there, and I wish you the very best of success. Rangimarie.